There are so many opportunities out there for you to increase your income, and we're going to be talking all about them on today's show. You're listening to episode 15 of
The Gold Mine Podcast.
As women, we have to invest that time in getting to understand who we are.
Be ambitious, be bold, create the life of your dreams. This is the Gold Mine Podcast with your host, Adrian Dion.
Hey you guys, I am so excited to be back with you this week for another episode on the Gold Mine Podcast. I hope that each and every one of you are having a fantastic, awesome, beautiful day. It's exactly how I hope your day is going. Fantastic, awesome, beautiful. I am excited about this show today. We have been talking about finances this entire month, and I hope that this episode really blesses you. I hope it's a game changer for you. For some reason, it's been one of the hardest for me to post, so I'm like, okay, this must be a good one. So let's jump right into it. So in the first part of this series, we talked about the money mindset, and we talked about a lot of the things that thoughts that you may be having that may be holding you back from abundance and attracting abundance. And so we talked about that. We talked about how to calculate, how much money you really need. A lot of us think that we need to be millionaires to be, living our dream life, but that's really not the case. But there is a formula that you need to know and need to implement into your life so that you know how much money you need. So that is also a goal of yours, and you can start to plan ways on reaching that goal. And so today we're going to be talking about now that you know how much money you need, if you've done the calculations, if you've taken the time to figure all of that out, you know how much money you need. And now we're going to talk about ways of generating that money. And so I hope that by the end of this series, there are no more excuses that you can't design the life that you want or have the things that you want because of finances. So for starters, when we think about ways to increase our income, the first and most important thing that you should do is become a good steward of money. Why? Because again, like we talked about on a previous episode, more money won't solve your problem. It's only going to make you more of who you are. So if you're a bad steward of money, you only get worse with more money. Have you ever seen someone who got a big bulk of money and, in a few years or even months, some people it doesn't even take a few months, they have absolutely nothing to show for it? This is a prime example. I remember hearing Oprah talk about helping family members, and she would say they would just come to her and ask for money because they would be in a situation, and she would give them money, everything should be fine. And in the next few months, here they come again. They back in the same situation. They need more money again. And so more money is not going to solve your problems. You first have to become good with money, good with handling money. And if you do that, that's going to increase your finances a whole lot. So how do we do that? What does being a good steward of money even look like? The first thing you should do is have a tracking system in place. If I were to ask you, okay, you had $20 this morning, where did that money go? You should be able to tell me exactly by the cents where every bit of that money went. You should have a system in place to track every single thing that's going in and out. Remember, you cannot manage what you don't track. Now, there are a lot of different ways to do that. The most common way is just having online banking that can show you all your transactions. And so you just have a good way of seeing where your money is going. For me, I really don't like to use cash because of that reason. Because I get a $20 bill and it is gone like in no time. And I'm like, what in the world did I do with that money? So a lot of times I just like to use my debit card. That way I can see exactly where my money is going. And even if I pull money out, I'm making a note. My bank has a feature where you can make notes on transactions. So I'm still able to see exactly where my money is going. With that being said, you're able to see exactly where your money is going and free up some of it by eliminating the things that aren't feeding your goals. So for example, a lot of you guys have gym memberships and you haven't been to the gym in 3 years, okay? Let it go. You can do something else with those $10. Let it go until you work your way up to where you're going to actually go to the gym. Eating out. A lot of people spend money eating out when you could save. Like, if you calculated just how much money you eat out in a month, I'm pretty sure it could pay one of your bills. Another thing is that high behind Starbucks coffee. You can do without. If it really came down to it and you needed to, the amount of money that you spend on things like that, you can free that money up and use it for a greater good. The next thing is that you should have a budget and a savings plan in place. If you do not, that's one of the first things you need to do. You need to create a budget. And a budget is not just for people with low income. There are so many benefits of budgeting. And in fact, I'm going to talk about it, all of that with you in detail next week on the show. But I will say implementing a budget is not a restriction. It actually gives you control over your money and allows your money to work for you instead of you working for your money. Another thing that helps you become a good steward of money is implementing a spending protocol. Now, my rule of thumb is if I cannot afford to buy two, then I cannot afford it. And I learned that from Myleik Teal. She has a podcast. If you guys haven't listened to it, go listen to it. She's awesome. But yeah. And the other thing that I do is I make big purchases with cash only. So basically, if it's over $60, I have to go get cash for it. And basically, it just slows down the process for me. And I'm thinking about like, okay, do I want to stop and go to the bank to get the money? And then I have to get the money and come back. Is it really worth it? Is it something that I'm going to really need or want? And I'm willing to do all of that for. It just kind of slows down the process and make me think about it instead of just swiping. A lot of times we can swipe and not even think about it. So for me, I saw that was something I used to do a lot, and I started to implement that protocol, and it's really changed a lot for me. You can come up with your own protocols for things or habits that you see yourself doing and implement those. The last thing that I have in my notes for being a good steward is to be debt free. Pay off your debt. A great resource is Dave Ramsey. He has a book called Total Money Makeover, and he talks about the importance of being debt free and teaches you exactly how to do it. Now, I think he has courses about it. You can take a course from him. He also has a podcast that's so fun to listen to. And it really motivates you and gets you pumped because basically he just interviews a lot of people who've done his method of becoming debt free and saving up money. And you can listen to them and how they've done it in such a short time. So I would definitely recommend that resource for you. But basically what you need to do is calculate all of your debt, pay off the debt going from the smallest to the largest. I remember when I first started traveling, I had a lot more money than I was used to having, and I didn't really know what to do with it, or how to handle it. And learning about that whole thing of paying off your debt and how to do it, it really changed a lot of things. I remember paying off my car and I was just like, oh my gosh, I only did it in a couple months. It was really good. So when you pay off your debt, now you have so much more money that you can use for your goals and to use in a way that can be beneficial for designing the type of life that you want. So those are my notes about being a good steward of your money, but please take the initiative to educate yourself about managing money. A lot of times we engage in certain spending behaviors because we were taught those things. Remember, you have to challenge every thought that comes up for you, because those thoughts can determine your actions and ultimately the results that you are getting in your life. So after you've mastered managing money, after you're good with that, you can go on to the next way of increasing your income, and that is to create multiple income streams. A lot of you looked at the numbers you calculated last week and became extremely discouraged. You know what you make at your job. You know that that is impossible for you to cover the costs. So you're thinking, unless a miracle happens, I'm not going to probably see that become a reality. I definitely understand where you're coming from, but I want you to remember that you have a lot more power in this story than you probably think. So I honestly, wholeheartedly believe that your job, that is your 9 to 5, should not be your only income stream. The main reason as to why this shouldn't be is because it limits you. You will be confined to the amount of money that your job produces, and you will be tied to that concept of the only way for me to get more money is to work harder. And if that were true, then what would happen when you max out your time and your effort? You're not a robot, so you're human. You can only work so hard, and you only have a certain amount of time in a day. That concept is just not going to work for you in any way, form, or fashion. The other limitation of having your job as your only income stream is that it kills your creativity. And you'll get to the point to where money starts to control every decision that you make. I've literally seen people continuously prostitute themselves to the highest bidder. Oh, this job pays $5 more, so I'm going to go over here. Such and such said that they'll give me $200, more dollars if I come over there. And there will be no type of loyalty or consideration about other factors that go into play for the job. All you'll be thinking about is the money because of how much it's limiting you. Nothing else will seem to matter because you're so desperate. You need more money. And so when somebody's offering you more, you'll go. You'll put up with whatever you have to because you'll need the money. And let me just say this. Money is not our mission. Money funds our missions, but it is not our mission. And if you're only concerned about making money, then you have it all wrong. I know we often use that scripture, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper and not to harm. That whole scripture, we take that prosperity part and we run with it. But a thought came to me the other day when I was studying. The prosperity part comes as a result of the plan God has. What we should really start focusing on is figuring out the plan. Understand that when we're operating in the plan and fulfilling our mission, everything else will fall into place. Prosperity is the byproduct of your obedience to the plan. And how do you find or figure out that plan? Knowledge comes through intimacy with God. So establishing a real relationship with Him instead of acting like He's your sugar daddy and coming to Him when you need something. To become intimate means to know in the fullness or to know the true nature of something or someone. When you begin to know God in the same way, because you're made in His likeness, you'll begin to know who you are, and that plan will be revealed to you. So if you go back to the very beginning, when the Bible talks about how God made heaven and earth, it said He put seeds for all of the trees and fruits into the ground, but He didn't cause it to rain because He knew that it would grow and become very wild, and there was no one to till it. And so it goes on to say about, and so He made a man. And His plan for that man was to dress the garden and to keep it. As long as Adam operated in God's plan, he prospered. He had everything. He had the entire garden. He was rich, like it was all his. But the minute that he went outside the will of God, that's when the trouble started. So you have to know that the key to your abundance and the key to your prosperity is operating in your plan, fulfilling your mission. So if God's plan for you is to heal babies with bad hearts, but you say, nah, med school is going to take too long, and I really want money to buy a big house and to travel and to have some Jimmy Choo shoes. So I'm going to just go get my real estate certification because that's quick money. I can sell some houses and do that whole thing. Don't be mad when things aren't flowing and you're not seeing the results that you want in your life. You have to honor your calling, not following behind what others are doing or what somebody else tells you to do. I heard TD Jake say, know the source of your dreams, because a lot of times people are following dreams that somebody, put on them when they were children. He said, and it's so true, I've heard people say this, oh, he got a head like a preacher, so now everybody's telling him he's going to be a preacher when he grows up, and he's, went to theology school or whatever school you go to, and he's having a hard time because that's not his real calling. He's honoring somebody else's dream for him. So, doing and honoring your calling and being in flow with your mission is the key to your abundance. So please, please, please remember that and make sure you're in alignment with what God has placed inside of you for you to do. Getting back to my point, your job shouldn't be your only income stream. Diversifying your income has so many different benefits, one of which it just reduces the risk. And that in itself helps you to live a less stressful life. So, for example, you may have a great job, but what if that company goes into bankrupt or it's involved in some type of lawsuit that causes it to go under, and you lose your job? What would you do? How long could you maintain your household? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, that time frame is not very long. And so that's a very risky way to live. And if your only income is through your job, man, it could go south real fast. Another benefit of diversifying your income is that it allows you to separate the money from the mission. So like we talked about earlier, how many more people could you help or would be willing to help and serve if money wasn't an issue for you? In fact, there are going to be a lot of times where you're going to help people or you'll need to help people and you can't expect something in return. Having other sources of income that's going to be able to take care of you will come into play very much so in those situations. The other benefit that I have in my notes is that diversifying your income allows you to be able to create lifestyle design. Those things that we talked about last week can become possible with an increase in your income. So now a lot of you might be saying, I understand all of that and it sounds great, but how can I do it? How can I diversify my income? My answer is to you, and I'm not sure that you'll like it, but my answer to you is to look at the types of gifts that you have. A lot of you are sitting on great opportunities because you aren't doing anything with the gifts that God is giving you. That's what I meant earlier when I said you have a lot more power in this story than you really think. Every single gift that you have is a possible income stream. When God made us, He placed gifts on the inside of us so that when we're living our lives, we're able to use those things to take care of ourselves. I remember reading this scripture in the Bible that says, I give you the power to get wealth so that I establish the covenant which I swore to your ancestors as it is today. And so breaking it down, what that means is He gives us the gift of power. in order to have an abundance of valuable possessions or money. You have power, and power means you have the ability, the capacity, the capability, the potential, the competence. So use what you have. There are so many opportunities to make money just by using the things that you have inside of you. So, for example, I recently did my weight loss challenge. That was me making me better. And now I'm an ambassador for them. So me just working out in the gym, I'm able to post pictures and show people my progress. And by doing that, I'm making money from it. I have a gift of being able to teach people. And a lot of the things that I've gone through, I'm able to help other people get to where they need to be able to manage their mind with my coaching business. I'm using the gifts that's on the inside of me to make money. I'm pretty sure that if I were to really get focused on my singing, I would be able to make money from that, wedding singing or, singing for different events. I can use the gifts that's placed on the inside of me to get money, to generate money and generate income. And you can do the same thing. You may have a nice voice or speak well. If you go on Fiverr, that Fiverr app is crazy at what people will do. You can hire people to do all kinds of things. I was looking for somebody to do the instrumental for this podcast, and I went on there and found somebody. There are people that do voiceovers because they have a nice voice or they speak very well. You may have nice hands, and you can become like a ring model. If you're fashion forward, you can become an influencer and be an ambassador for different clothing brands. Nike, I'm pretty sure, has a good deal with that. If you like to watch reality shows, there's a guy named Kendall, and he watches reality shows and like talks about them on Instagram. And now let me just say, I don't know if he makes money from it. But that's where I know him from, and he plays a lot with celebrities. He's like always at the parties and on the inside. And so even something small like that can advance you in life. People who can make other people laugh, comedians. Look at other people using their gifts to help them obtain wealth. But if you keep that mindset that the only way for me to have income or to increase my income is through one particular job, you're going to lose every time. Making money or having abundance doesn't have to equal hustling and struggling and being tired. There are people who love what they do, and they use all of their gifts to create wealth. Look at Auntie Oprah. She has a television show. She's a speaker, a writer. She's an actress. She's an influencer. She uses her influence to do affiliate marketing. Let Auntie Oprah say that she like my shoes. Everybody gonna buy them shoes because Auntie Oprah says she likes them. So she's using every single gift that she has on the inside of her to generate wealth. You, my friend, are just as complex and have several gifts as well. And so I'm challenging you to look at ways you can use them to create multiple income streams. Get creative. You are only limited by your own creativity. In addition to using your gifts as income streams, I suggest you also do some investing. Now, I don't know a ton about investing, so I'm not going to try to teach it to you. My hopes is that I'm able to get somebody on here to ask a lot of the questions that I know you guys have and explain it in a way that you can understand it. The person I had, we haven't been able to get our schedules coordinated quite yet. But if it's not on this series, it will be coming up. So keep looking for it. But I just want to say that there is so much information out there if you want to research it on your own and learn about what options are out there and decide what options are going to be best for you. But here's what I do know. Investing your money allows you to build it up and grow it over time. So it's really great for hitting future financial goals and setting things up for the future. The sooner you start, the better the outcome. Now, the last thing I have on my notes about increasing your income is creating passive income. One of my favorites. When I think about passive income, I think about it as making money in my sleep. Who doesn't want to do that? So basically, passive income is just income that's coming in on a regular basis that doesn't require a lot of effort for you to maintain it. So example, if you write a book, the effort is put into writing that book, but thereafter, you're just making money 24/7 every time somebody buys that book. Another example is real estate. You may purchase a home and rent it out. That's consistent money coming in, and it doesn't take you a lot of effort to maintain it. Something I found out about recently, crowdfunded real estate. It's basically for people who may not have a lot of money to invest in real estate. You can still reap the benefits of it by doing the crowdfunded real estate. Check it out. Some other examples, online classes. You could create a course and sell it, all the time. Rent out a room in your house, Airbnb. There's affiliate marketing, kind of like what I was telling you about that I do, like as an ambassador or something like that. Open a high yield savings account. Now, I just found out about that one. Basically how it works, there are a lot of online banks now, and so you can open a savings account with an online bank and put your savings into that. A lot of them pay so much more than traditional banks. So for instance, CIT Bank Online pays 1.55% compared to Wells Fargo's interest rate of 0.01%. And so just moving your money to a bank account that pays you more interest for your money, that can just simple things like that. And that's a continuous, steady amount of money that's coming in. I mean, it's not going to get you rich, but depends on the amount of money you have in your savings. Another cool passive income idea is drop shipping. So here's how it works. You create an online store that offers products from certain manufacturers. A person visits that site, orders a product, and then the system sends the order to the specific manufacturer. And then the manufacturer completes the order and ship it to the person. So basically, you don't have to do anything but just maintain that online store. You don't have to pack up anything. You don't have to send it to anybody. You don't have to take anything to the post office. It's basically just having that online store. And the cool thing about it is that the customer pays for it. You collect the profits. It's super easy, and I think a lot of people pass up on the opportunity because they don't really know a lot about it. Somebody says drop shipping, kind of just seems complicated, so you move on. But it's really a cool way, something that I'm planning to get into really soon. And so whenever you're thinking about what you can create to have passive income, I want you to remember one thing. People will pay for convenience. Whether it's creating a course, a book, or whatever, you have something to offer that's valuable and that people will pay for. So be creative. Now, as you consider other streams of income, make sure that you're considering your time as a premium product, because all you have in life is time. And what I mean by that is when you're creating new income streams, make sure that that income stream can increase your income without using up all your time. I heard T.D. Jakes say, all life is time. The more time you give up, the more of your life you give up. Make sure that the part of your life that you're giving up is worth what you're getting in return. Be sure to get the proper return on investment for your time. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope that this episode sparked some new ideas for you. I would love to hear all about them, and let me know what you think about the episode. I also want to let you know that enrollment for my coaching program is open for August. So you can sign up for a mini session. Just look for the link in the show notes below. And again, that's for anybody who needs some assistance with managing your mind. Your mind is so important in reaching your goals. And if you don't have that skill already down, it's going to be really, really hard for you to make goals, gain structure and clarity about those goals, and come up with a plan to execute. So yes, I would love to help you with that. All right, guys, I look forward to talking to you next week. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.